here. And we're live.
Hello, watchers of video streams.
We apologize in advance.
I hit record.
All right.
I'm about to hit the opener.
It's time
Yep.
for the Fantasy Football Guys. Dropping loads of fantasy football knowledge all up in your eardrums.
Skeet, skeet, skeet.
Here they are. Lyle Conkeel and Kevin Moore. The Fantasy Football Guys.
It's never not gross when I do that.
It's never not. Hey, we're the fantasy football guys, Kevin.
Lyle.
Yeah, and it is a Week 5 preview show. We wait so long for football, and then the season just zooms right by.
I know.
Now, this year we have 18 weeks of it,
We do.
as opposed to 16 like we had a long time ago.
Right.
17 for the past several years,
Right.
but now we have 18.
Now we have 18.
They didn't have to add a game. They could have just added an extra bye week.
They could have, but then you take a game away, then every team has to adjust their ticket prices because they charge you the
They
same.
don't take a team away.
A game away, I mean.
No, you don't, because you still have 16 games. You just have 2 bye weeks, but you have
Oh.
18 weeks of the season.
Oh, and then you take away one preseason game anyway.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
see what you're saying.
How can
Yeah,
you
I guess
go
they
wrong?
could have done that. Yeah, but they added a game.
But what they'll probably
now-
do is add a second bye week, so they'll have 19 weeks of the season.
They probably will do that. But now you're going to see records break,
Yeah.
right?
Well, OJ ran for 2,000 yards in a 14-game season.
Yes, he did.
Now there's been some people doing it in a. Should have probably killed that music a long time ago.
A while back.
Yeah. Anyway, but so now a lot of people have done it in
Yeah.
the 16 now 17-week season.
Yep.
Derrick Henry, he might run for 2,200 yards at this point.
He might.
All right,
You're not wrong.
Let's jump into the news here, if you don't mind. So Tyler Higbee's good to go for Thursday night. Good for him. Daryl Henderson is without the injury designation. He had ribs, but he
did.
played anyway last
did play.
week.
He did play.
And played reasonably well.
I was down to my last legs in one league, and I was like, I hope he plays, because I literally got no one else.
You see what somebody did in the G League? By the way, big shakes happened in this last week.
Yeah.
Lyle gets ousted from the G League.
I am oot.
Best thing.
In the worst possible fashion.
Sure. So he had Antonio Brown and Nick Folk. So in the Sunday night game.
Yes.
In the Sunday night game,
I'm down by 1.5.
well, yeah, Antonio got some. So
Right.
toward the end of the game, Lyle's down by
1.5.
point and a half. I guess you would know.
Yeah.
So I'm texting him, I'm like, dude, you're in big shit trouble because
Yeah.
you're dangling down there at the bottom.
And I was just like, it is what it is, bro. If I go out, I go out.
So
But I still had skin in the game.
you did. So he had Antonio Brown. So if you watch the game, you see at the end of the game, Brady throws to Antonio. Like I put in the Discord, Brady's like, Lyle, I got you, bro.
Right.
So he chucks it up to Antonio, right? And Antonio just doesn't see the ball. It lands within like 3 feet of him.
Yeah.
But the defender didn't see it either, so incomplete pass. And I thought, if he caught that, Lyle sticks.
Right.
And then the very next play, he goes right back to Antonio. Tom's like, it's got to happen this time, Lyle.
Right.
Antonio catches the ball and goes, F you, Lyle, and just drops
it.
Yeah.
And drops it. By the way, it's 11:40 Eastern at this point. And I'm watching this damn game. But
wait, there's more.
then I had a shot.
Right, because he also had Nick Folk, the kicker.
Right.
So then the other team, what was the other team? It was the Patriots. Yeah, Patriots, Nick Folk's the kicker. So they go down 56-yard, would have been a career long for him.
Right.
You saw what happened. You got the doink.
But dunk.
Right. 6 inches to the right, Lyle still, his toes are still
And
tapping.
not only that, I probably have the best waiver priority.
Yeah,
Which is a huge thing this early in the league.
it is.
So like every year, when I get ousted from the guillotine league, it's big sad, and then it's a major relief because it's another league I don't have to worry about anymore.
It's the league you worry about most the deeper you go.
Yeah.
I think this is the worst you've done in that league. I think you're getting progressively worse.
I'm getting progressively worse. I am. And the thing is, I picked last. So we have, 18 teams? 17?
I had 18 teams. Yeah.
18 teams. So I picked 18th. And last week, the previous week, I was the third highest scorer.
That's how it goes.
This week, Not so much.
No, if you look at, Flea Flicker will show you the season stats and it'll show you the weekly
You're near
stats.
the bottom.
I am at the bottom of this. I'm like 20 points worth. The next highest person is 20, 30 points away.
Yeah.
So I'm the lowest scorer, yet I'm able to hang on every week.
You got lucky, man. It really is luck until you get a roster that you have to start making decisions about. Right now, everybody in that league just goes, I'm just going to start these guys, I guess.
Right. These are the best guys I come up with. At some point, you get there where you're like, okay, I have to sit this extremely startable player.
You get under 10 teams, 10 and under.
You get to like 7 or 8
weird.
teams. Yeah, then it gets
you're like,
weird.
do I really sit Reek Hill here? And you're like, yeah, you might.
You might just because of the matchup or whatever. But we are not at that point yet. So, I put a couple waiver claims in.
Oh, for my team?
Yeah.
Yeah, who you looking at?
The things don't go down till tomorrow.
Okay.
I am second.
Tell me off the air.
All right, if I was first, I would just tell you because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, first is your son, right?
No, it's
I thought Robbie had
team chemistry.
Oh, okay. I thought Raleigh had it.
He's right behind me.
Oh, okay.
So
I knew he was down there near the bottom with me.
I only put 2 claims.
By the way, the bottom 5 teams were within like 4 points.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. I was like 7th or 5th in the league, for the day, and I was like 12 points ahead of the person in last.
Right.
So a long touchdown sends me to the bottom.
Yeah, it just does it. But hey, what are you gonna do, man?
Mm-hmm.
You come in hot, and then
and you go out whimpering.
You go out cold.
If you don't play not to you, Lyle, but everybody else. If you don't play in a guillotine league,
it's a lot of fun.
By all means, you can start them now if you want.
You could.
I mean, you can start them with 10 weeks to go.
For sure.
But yeah, it's great fun because it's intense, and I literally look at my roster every day.
Roster.
Uh-oh,
Kevin doesn't have a beer. All right, let's get to this damn show.
But we have news to go.
Well,
Anyways,
I know, but it's already 5:30. I got New World to play.
You have, I know. If you're not playing New World yet, you kind of got it.
And I've heard that Jessica's making cheeseburger macaroni for dinner.
Really?
One of my faves.
That's a meal that we used to make a lot.
You ever have cheeseburger mac?
Oh, yeah. You get the Velveety, make the macaroni and cheese with Velveety, and you fry up some burger.
Kind of banging, dude.
You chop up some burger, you just pop it in there. A little garlic salt, some oregano.
It's kind of banging.
It is. It's banging. We don't make it so much now without the kids.
Dude, what you do is you take a couple pieces of bread. All right, now listen. Cardiac patients. Don't listen to me here.
Yeah.
Take yourself a couple pieces of bread. Preferably potato, but any white bread will do. You put some butter on it. Then you make yourself a cheeseburger mac sandwich. Bro.
Interesting.
Now listen, it might take a year off your life.
But it's a year at the end.
It is. Have you ever been to Cheesecake Factory?
I'm an American,
okay,
yeah.
all right. Have you ever had the macaroni cheeseburger?
Absolutely.
Dude. Yeah, so it's like that.
So I've been going to Delaware football games, University of Delaware games. So if a opposing kicker misses a field goal, everybody in the stadium gets free broccoli bites from Kate's, Klondike Kate's in Newark.
Really?
Yeah. So we're like, miss.
Has anybody missed yet?
Not since I've been going.
Have you had any broccoli bites?
They're not broccoli bites.
Or
they're
whatever.
mac and cheese bites.
Mac and cheese bites.
I've had
you
them
said
there,
broccoli,
yeah.
though, I think.
Did I?
I think you did, yeah.
Well, I'm either.
Mac and cheese bites are quite different than broccoli.
Yes, yeah.
By the way, broccoli bites are banging.
They are.
There used to be a place in Newark. Oh, my God. We're going to never do this show. There used to be a place in Newark across from the Brookside Bowling Alley, dude, over where Two Stones was, here in Newark, Delaware, ladies and gentlemen, that sold a broccoli and cheese pie.
Interesting.
And it was
like a quiche.
It was literally a pie. Like it looked like an apple pie.
Okay.
But it was broccoli and cheese. And it was $12, and it was amazing. And that place is gone now.
You could probably look up a recipe.
Maybe, but I mean, the crust was golden brown and crispy, and the inside was gooey cheese and broccoli. It was fantastic.
Probably some breadcrumbs in there just for texture.
Probably, I would imagine. Anyway, let's say.
So the Patriots have dealt All-Pro cornerback Stefan Gilmore to the Panthers. That's like the second D-back.
So they dealt. I had heard.
I thought they were dropping him, but
okay. So
it seems like
they
traded him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, the Panthers are they're scaring me now.
Yeah, they're going for it. They're going for it big.
They're
good already on defense.
They are.
Also, let's see. The Bears have named Justin Fields starting quarterback. That didn't take long.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do?
At this point, you have a hurt Andy Dalton.
Here's the thing.
Why not go with the kid?
Who started this week? Remind me.
This last week?
Yeah.
Justin Fields.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, we named him the starting quarterback. He just freaking started games.
Yeah, but he was the starter because Dalton was out.
I understand.
Now it's like...
Did he start, though?
Right, but he was the backup quarterback
I hear you,
playing.
but he started 2 freaking games.
Well, he filled in for one. And
Okay,
started
that's right.
Oh, maybe he did.
No, he started.
He
started that game.
Because one was a complete just
Yeah, that's
awful
the nine
sacks
sack.
and-
Yeah. So yeah, he's your starter. Big shock. Guess what? If he keeps sucking and Andy Dalton gets healthy, and then Justin Fields get hurt, and then Andy Dalton comes in, and then he starts a couple games, they'll be like, "Oh, Andy Dalton's now our starter." Yeah. I was about to curse. This stuff drives me crazy. Of course, Justin Fields is the starter.
Yeah, but they're
He
saying
started.
going forward.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts.
All right, fair enough. So you've been seeing this Urban Meyer stuff going on?
Oh yeah, the strip clubs and stuff, or
Well,
is it
no.
a bar or is it a strip
It was,
club? Just a regular bar.
Somebody said they thought he owned the bar. I don't know.
I don't
but
know.
anyway, so he was at a bar and some college-age woman.
Jess is listening, by the way.
Make Lyle a broccoli and cheese pie. for
She
God's
said
sake.
you did say broccoli instead of
okay.
macaroni and cheese bites. You said broccoli bites.
I was thinking broccoli bites because I'm hungry.
Yeah,
And
we're
I'm-
both hungry now.
And yeah, it was mac and cheese bites.
Yeah,
But
we
thank you.
were talking about your cheeseburger mac. Tell Roman he better leave me some. No, I'm just kidding. He can have the rest of it. I love him.
What a nice guy. Anyway, so apparently this college age woman was backing it up on Urban's lap.
Not apparently.
Yeah.
There's video.
Right. Now, apparently, Robbie says there's another angle where it looks like he's trying to give her a proctology exam with
Listen.
a couple of fingers.
Listen,
I don't know.
I'm not here to judge.
Yeah.
Okay, and I really don't care what Urban Meyer does in a club.
Exactly.
What I care about is how he's a terrible football coach in the National Football League.
Well, that was going to be my point.
Yeah.
People are saying he has no credibility in this building now. Shad Khan comes out and says, he's going to have to earn our respect and blah. I was like, you know what? If he was 4-0, it'd be like, Urban, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Be good out there, bud.
They'd be like, yeah.
But at 0-4,
Yeah.
no, I'm not saying, really, to me, looking at the video, it's between him and his wife.
Of course.
So
and not
he's-
only that, he's not even doing anything like wrong to anyone else other than his wife.
Right. So the whole thing of, we're embarrassed for, or you know what?
Listen, he wasn't coercing this woman.
No.
Okay, it was clear that she was engaged in activities that she was volunteering for.
At
let's
least
say.
a 50% participant.
Yes, and guess what? Good for her and good for him. I don't know what his home life is like.
You never know. She may be into that, the wife.
You
Who's to
have
say?
no
It's none of our
idea.
business.
I don't know, and more importantly, I don't care.
Well, you remember when Rex Ryan came out as a foot fetishist?
Yeah,
right?
he's a foot guy.
I didn't care about that. It was
foot guys rub me the wrong way.
yeah.
Yeah, a little
I
weird.
don't care about that. It's
It's
none
a
of my
little,
business.
it's a little weird.
It's a little weird.
Are
Dude,
you a
don't
foot guy?
king shame
You
a
a foot-
guy.
are you a foot
Don't
guy?
king shame a guy.
Feet are weird, man.
Yeah, I'm not a foot guy.
Feet are super weird.
But a lot of other things would be weird to other people. So,
Yeah, sure.
like what you admitted to me before the show.
What, that I knew that you were
No.
homosexual?
No, what's your never mind.
Oh, yeah. Let's change the subject right now.
All right, so let's get into
What
these
are we
games.
talking about?
I don't know, man. This
Good Lord.
I don't know if I told
Look,
you.
look, the chat is just blowing up right
Yeah?
now. Yeah.
People are saying we're
T-Dub said
insensitive.
he's sorry he had to beat you in the money league.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
T-Dub,
true.
you and I are 4-0, bro.
I started out so well in a couple of leagues. And
Yes, T-Dub, it's still there. Yes, that's the same email address. Anyway, go ahead, Kevin.
Anyway, so I'm sure a lot of people are like, well, in 2021, you can't be doing that stuff out in public. You're 0-4. You should be looking at film.
Dude, I don't care what he does outside the office unless it's illegal or predatory. I don't care.
Right. So the whole thing is like he stayed in Ohio when the rest of the team flew back home.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that a head coach does that. And this is coming from Pat McAfee, who's like, I'd never heard of a coach not going back on the team playing with the team.
Who knows what he was doing,
But,
though?
Urban Meyer lived in Ohio for years and years.
Maybe he's visiting family.
Right, so I think he has businesses there, family there, whatever.
Yeah.
So he went out and, some chick backed it up on his, young woman, backed it up on his lap. And like
What are you going to do?
Like I said,
He's Urban Meyer.
Like I said to my son last night, Chris Rock said a man is only as faithful as his options.
It's true. But I don't even know that he did anything unfaithful.
From
He
what
might have been playing to the room. Listen, we don't know.
But like I said, like Robbie said, there's another angle. It looks like he's
Robbie said
going
that
up
there's
to his
another
wrist.
I
don't know.
I was just saying, but here's the thing.
Even at that,
I'm not judging a man. Okay? I don't care.
I just think in this age of having everybody's got to be apologetic and, I'm remorseful for getting my freak on in a bar. 20 years ago, people had been like, look at that. He's a crazy man. He's married. What the hell is he doing?
Yeah, but
Next.
it's inexcusable now.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to do, and everybody pretends that not everybody does it. Everybody does it. I go to strip clubs and get my freak on every day. I said it, Jessica. All right.
My wife has never, ever listened to this show. In 17 seasons of doing this show, she has never listened or watched this show.
God bless her. Is there a typo underneath me? There is. The fantasy football guys at gmail.com. It should be say football.
Oh, yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
Football.
You'll have to fix that.
Football.
Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, can we do a damn show? We have so much to talk about, and I have things to do.
All right, we can go through these 16 games pretty quickly, I think. Lyle, Rams at Seahawks for your Thursday night tilt.
Mark, what are you talking about?
What?
What are you talking about? Where's your invite?
What are you talking
Keep
about?
going.
Who are you talking to?
Mark in the chat says, "Where's my invite, Lyle? For what? Did I promise you something? Listen, I promise a lot of things, bro. I don't know."
Jessica, we have to talk. You and me. Give me a call.
Dude, I've been engaged for 11 years. That's how I promise. We're going to do it soon,
So
Dave. Soon.
All right, Rams and Seahawks, your Thursday night tilt.
Thank God.
The thing about it is the teams that have been scheduled for Thursday night, you look at the games and you go, but they've turned out to be really good games.
They have been good. That's true. But this one, I'm anticipating.
This one will probably suck because it's two marquee teams.
It probably will. It's going to be 9-3.
So the Rams were the top team on everybody's strengths.
I disagreed with that. But
I did
okay.
too. You beat the best, you become the best.
Sure.
Okay, fair enough. But a week later they get smoked.
Yes.
So now the Cardinals aren't number one, but anyway, Rams is still a pretty good team.
Should they be?
The Rams?
No, the Cardinals.
I tell you what, they keep it up. They're the only undefeated team, and they've beaten.
Again, I go back to when it happened to the Rams, and they went 4-0, and everybody was like, "Oh, I don't know, bro."
Yeah,
they were scoring on everybody. They had a terrible defense, but they just outscored everyone.
Sure, they were great games.
They were
great for fantasy.
Yeah, it was
I loved them.
48-40.
Oh, it was beautiful. But the Rams, the Cardinals' defense is pretty good, too.
Pretty good.
All right, so looking at the Rams and the Seahawks.
Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Of course, you're going to play Matt Stafford if you have him. He's just a man on fire at this point. Looking at the running backs, it's a great matchup for Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel. Which one of those guys you have? Seattle's 31st against fantasy running backs. So, yes to Henderson. He's off the questionable list now. The injury list, if you will. And Sony Michel, while not getting Darrell Henderson numbers, is a change of pace back who might be flex-worthy depending on what the rest of your lineup looks like. Looking at the receivers here, Seattle's pretty bad against the pass, too, or against fantasy receivers. Don't have to tell you to play Cooper Kupp. I'm not going to tell you to play Robert Woods. You remember this guy back in the day.
Bobby Trees, man.
Back in the day, he was
new
ultimately
quarterback.
playable.
There's a new sheriff in town, bro.
Well, he had a touchdown last week. He had a touchdown week one.
Yeah.
But
look at those numbers compared to Kupp.
Oh, yeah. 4 for 48 in the touchdown is barely
flexy.
Flex
well, it's flexy. I'll take 10 points out of a flex.
Yeah.
And then 14 in
But
the
there's no guarantee about that because 2 weeks before that.
I know.
I don't want a wide receiver that's touchdown dependent. I want catches and yards too.
Samesies.
Van Jefferson, Deshaun Jackson, if you're desperate, I guess you could throw one of those guys in. They're touchdown dependent, though. Higbee is a go for Thursday night, so if he's your tight end, he gets decent enough numbers occasionally, good enough to play. From the Seahawks side, Russell Wilson, if he's your quarterback, no reason to not play him against this team. They have a good defense, but you can score on them.
For sure.
The Rams are 21st against fantasy running backs. Chris Carson is questionable with the neck. We saw a bunch of Alex Collins this last week.
We did.
Kind of freaked me out a little bit because I don't really have that much Chris Carson action, but I kind of like to see the guy, actually be their running back consistently so you can...
Injuries, man.
Yeah, it happens. Collins was 10 for 44, had a touchdown, caught a couple for 34. If it's going to be the Alex Collins show, thumbs up.
It's not going to be, but
right. I would.
We've been doing this
for Seattle.
This running back round table for Seattle for years. Chris Carson has consistently come up on top. When he's healthy, he's the guy. Mm-hmm. I'm confident in saying that.
I would just as soon Carson take a week off so we can have a consistent Alex Collins.
I wouldn't because I own him in 2 leagues, but fair enough.
But the thing about it is, if he's questionable and is limited, which guy do you play? I would probably play the healthy guy if I had to.
It's a rough go, but sure. And by the way, I beat Kevin in both bets on Sunday. 2 for 2.
Cooks versus Ridley and Zach Moss versus Montgomery, even though Montgomery went out.
Yeah.
And is going to be out for, a month or more.
That's a rough go.
Yeah. So now I'm down 5. Sucks.
He was up 5. Now he's down 5.
All right, so of course you're going to play DK Metcalf. Of course you're going to play Tyler Lockett. I don't have to tell you about those guys. Gerald Everett, Will Dissly, they're just a guy. So I wouldn't worry about either of them unless you have to. And if you do, God love you.
Godspeed.
Yeah.
On me?
On you.
Okay, you started out with a really good game. Let's talk about Jets-Falcons. It's going to be a roughin'. Zach Wilson actually had a decent game.
You know why? Crowder was back.
He was back. He did throw a pick. So, but it was only one. He's that's 3 under his season high of 4 against New England. But we're not going to play him, obviously. I just wanted to point it out. He had a 97 rating or something like that. Okay.
I think the kid's going to be all right if the team around him can do something.
He won't because Jets quarterbacks don't survive in the
Forgot
NFL.
about the Jets quarterback.
Michael Carter scored a touchdown. Still don't start him. Corey Davis had a big game, and he has actually had some numbers this year, man.
He's startable.
In a flex, he might be startable. He's had one bad game in a PPR. That was week 2 against New England, where Zach Wilson threw 4 picks.
Yeah.
But he had 10 targets in week 3, caught 5 of them for 40 in a PPR. That's 9. It's play-ish-able. Last week, 7 targets, 4 catches, $111 and a snee. I'll allow it.
It's a tutty.
Jamison Crowder came out hot.
As he does.
9 targets, 7 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. I love it. I'm not saying I would play him.
I would.
He's a freaking Jet. So let's temper. We're not going to play anybody else, obviously. Let's not even discuss it. Matt Ryan has a 111 quarterback rating 2 weeks in a row.
Matty Ice?
He's got 6 touchdowns in his last 2 games.
Ooh.
No picks.
Did they win those games?
They won against the Giants in week 3.
They did.
Yeah. Don't play him, but he's interesting in daily fantasy.
But it's the Jets, dude. Can't you play the
I
guy?
mean, dude, yeah, but not weekly. Nobody has this guy on their team. I'm sorry. They don't. In a 2 quarterback league, sure. Against the Jets.
I can't remember
honestly, the Jets aren't terrible against fantasy quarterbacks.
I was looking to make a trade in the Dynasty League, so I'm flipping through because I have Jalen Hurts sitting on my bench doing nothing.
Yeah.
So he's a 5th, rated quarterback in the league. I mean, maybe I can pull a trade off. And I'm flipping through to see who's got quarterback issues, and somebody's got Matt Ryan in the starting spot. So they're out there.
This week it might not be that bad. That's a Dynasty League, though. I hear you, though. Mm-hmm. Cordell Patterson is the one bright spot on this offense, and I'm going to say it now. I'm going to say it. I'm coming out and I'm doing it. I know it's weird, but I think he's at least an RB2. At least.
You got to play him somewhere.
He might be an RB or WR1, whatever the hell he is.
He has more fantasy points than anybody else on the team.
I know.
What did I see was he has more fantasy points this year than he had all last year, and it was halftime week 3.
Right.
Or halftime of week 4.
Yeah. He's playing fantastic, and they're giving him the football.
Well, that's just it. I mean, I think he's always been capable of this.
For sure.
It's not like when he's 30, he all of a sudden becomes a weapon that he never was.
Yeah.
It's just they're using him into his strength.
Let's compare him to Mike Davis, who in a PPR has scored 10 points a week on average, right? But not close to Patterson's numbers. Week 1, he beat Patterson, but week 2, Patterson beat him by 8 points. Week 3, they were roughly even. Week 4, obviously, Patterson had 3 touchdowns. I don't know.
Wherever you put him, flex,
Got to get him in there.
wide receiver, if you can do that.
Davis in a PPR is probably bottom tier flex. He'll get you 10. He's gotten 10 points at least in every game. He's never scored more than 13. So,
Well, consistency, you know.
yeah, he's bottom tier flex.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. If you need 10 points, he'll get you 10.
If you need 20,
He'll get you 10.
he'll get you 10.
Calvin Ridley is a hard sit.
Don't play names, play numbers, man.
I'm sorry. In a PPR, maybe not, right? But in a standard league, I don't know. He gets the targets, he gets the catches, but he's got 1 TD on the season. In a standard league, he's only scored 12 points once. Everything else is down around 5 or 6. He's a hard sit in a standard. In a PPR, I would still play him in a flex. He's not your WR1, which is what he was.
Make no mistake.
And Kyle Pitts, I got to be honest, I think he's a hard sit. A lot of people drafted him early. I'm passing, bro. This is the Cordell Patterson show.
As it turns out.
Can you believe that after the season he had last year?
Well,
I know Ridley owners right now are like, what are you talking about? Sit him? Probably not. But, find a spot for him.
At some point, he's going to break out. He's going to be targeted. The matchups are going to work.
But if you own this guy, you're sad right now. And don't be mad at me about it.
Are people coming at your neck?
They will.
Yeah.
Sick Calvin Ridley against the Jets. Are you crazy? Guess what? In a PPR, yeah, sure, he might get you to like 12 points or something. But again, that's Mike Davis numbers. All right, go ahead, Kevin.
You good, man?
Yeah.
All right.
It's frustrating because I own him. I own him in a couple leagues.
Oh, that's what it is. You're salty behind that. I got
I'm
you.
super salt.
All right, so you got the Lions against the Bears with an NFC North tilt. So Jared Goff, dude, it's weird. I mean, nobody's really thinking about playing him for real, but he's had a couple of decent games. Like week 1 against San Francisco, dude hung 31, nearly 31. He has had a 19-point game, an 18-point game against Chicago last week. He's had a 9-point game against Baltimore. You know, in a super flex league, 2-quarterback league, he could be my second quarterback. But otherwise, in a single quarterback game, obviously not. We've seen DeAndre Swift do amazing things every other week. A 20-point game in week 1 and 3. A 9 and a 6-point game in weeks 2 and 4. So this week, I guess, if you're doing the every other week deal against Minnesota, maybe it's DeAndre's time. Because there was a time where people were talking about, oh, he's the 4th best running back in the league. And then he hung out a 6.9-point stinker. So anyway, so the receivers for the Lions are kind of in a weird spot. So you got guys named like Quentin Cephas and Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's pretty good. You know, Tyrell Williams is out. Here's a guy that you haven't heard a whole lot about, but he's actually been relatively pretty good, relatively consistent. Have you heard of this guy? Khalil Raymond.
Of course I have.
Of course you have, but it's not somebody that comes right to mind when you think about somebody you want to play. Dude against Chicago last week had 18 points. Week before that, against Baltimore, he had 9.8. You know, in the early weeks, he didn't really do much, but he's starting to come on. I'm not saying put him in your lineup this week, but maybe pick him up and stash him on the bench. If he's going to become a guy who gets targeted 6 to 10 times per game and actually catches, passes. He had 2 touchdowns against Chicago. So, yeah, grab him and stash him. I mean, don't do anything silly like play the guy, but you might need him when the bye weeks come around. If he's performing like he has been the last couple of weeks, he's worth it. T.J. Hawkinson, of course, you're going to play that guy if he's your tight end because, yeah, you know. Anyway.
Big thumbs up.
From the Minnesota Vikings side, you got Kirk Cousins, who surprisingly, oddly consistent. Didn't have a great game this last week against Cleveland, but a lot of quarterbacks don't. That's the outlier. He's been in the mid-20s, weeks 1 through 3. He'll be in the mid-20s this week. Kirk Cousins gets a thumbs up out of me. Dalvin Cook, if he's healthy and good to go, of course you got to play him. If he's out for whatever
Limited
reason,
in practice or didn't practice, I forget.
Yeah.
He was on the report.
Right.
Today.
So if he's out, Madison's a good play if you still have him stashed. Absolutely. You're going to play Jefferson. You're going to play Adam Thielen. Absolutely. KJ Osborne is an interesting guy. He's had one really good week this season so far against Arizona of all teams. Had an 18-point plus game. Has got a touchdown on the season. Decently targeted. He's another one of those guys you want to put on your bench and hang on to him just in case, down the road type deal. But this week, no, you got better options. Tyler Conklin, Chris Herndon, tight ends, just a guy. You got other options, I hope.
I hope you do too. Saints are taking on the Washington football team this week, Kevin. And
you know what I love?
Yeah.
This typo's been up here for now 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and nobody said anything until now.
Just now. All right, let's talk about Jameis Winston. He's droppable.
How's the scattered sun?
Very good.
Yeah,
it's very tasty. Scattered sun. Ale. He's had a 100-plus rating in 3 games, but fantasy-wise, the numbers just aren't there. 30 points week 1 because, he threw 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's got 3
But he had
160
yards?
148.
Yeah.
He had 111 the week after that, 128 the week after that. And this week, the season high, 226.
Ooh.
He's got 3 touchdowns in the past 2 games. He is droppable. And the reason why is Taysom Hill actually has 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games as well.
Taysom Hill's ruining everybody on that team. Kamara's not getting the touches near the goal line, the whole 9.
Yep, and the thing is, they're 2-2, so they haven't figured anything out yet. So hard pass. I guess you got to play Kamara. I guess he does have 2 touchdowns in the last 4 games.
Yeah.
He had a $120 last week. You have to play him, but you're not psyched about the production.
You playing Kamara? You playing Patterson if you have them both?
Yeah, you play Kamara. Of course, you play Kamara.
Do
He
you?
had 120 yards last week. He's gotten 20-plus carries in 3 out of 4 games this year.
Patterson had 3 touchdowns
Play
last week.
Kamara.
Do you?
Yes. You just want to see more goal line stuff out of him.
Yeah, but we're not seeing it. But you are with Patterson.
I know.
I'm wondering.
None of the receivers you can really reliably play. Callaway, I think, has a lot of skill, but he only caught 2 passes last week. Deandre Harris had 8 targets, only caught 5 of those for 50 yards. That's 10 points in a PPR.
You all right?
PPR. Can't start Juwan Johnson, although he did catch a touchdown. It's really sad from the Saints side. Let's talk about the football team. Taylor Heineke looked pretty damn good against Atlanta.
He has
Most people
been good.
do.
Yeah.
3 touchdowns. Also ran for 43 yards. I'll allow it. Both Gibson and McKissick proved to be playable in a PPR. I mean, both had huge plays in that game. So good for them, I guess. Continue to play them. McKissick obviously is only a play in a PPR, but I don't hate him. Either of them. You're obviously going to play Scary Terry. What a catch. That might be the catch of the year.
Catch of the year of the month.
So far. Fantastic. And Curtis Samuel was back.
He's back. He's practice.
He played. He played against Atlanta. Caught 4 passes. Only 19 yards, but keep an eye out on him because he is dangerous. And with Scary taking everybody deep, in a PPR, he might start
clearing out the
catches.
underneath.
Yeah, he might start. Logan Thomas limped onto the field and then limped back off of it. Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Because he cost me a game for sure.
Wasn't he also in your G League team?
He was. No, I don't know if he was. He might have been, though. So, just say you're not going to play. Don't suit up, go out on the field, run 1 snap, and then be like, oh, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah. Sorry, fantasy players.
Ricky Seals-Jones did catch a touchdown once this year, but he might play if Thomas is out. I don't know, but I wouldn't play him.
None of it's good.
For sure.
So then you have the Patriots traveling to Houston to play the Texans. This is the kind of game where after the big Sunday night tilt against the Bucs, is this kind of a letdown game? Maybe. I think the Patriots played pretty well, and they did look like a pretty good football team against one of the better teams in the NFL.
Yeah, it's Belichick just knowing how to deal with Brady, though.
Possibly, but they also played good D.
They did.
Which has nothing to do with Brady. And the rest of the offense looked all right, too. That all being said, Damien Harris has been a disappointment this year. I'm just going to go right out and say it.
They got a rookie quarterback, though.
He actually had negative yards last week, right?
That's
he ended up with 3.6 because he caught a couple of passes, but we saw a lot of Brandon Bolden, who's doing the James White role now. Yeah. He was targeted 6 times, caught all 6 of them for 51 yards, ran the ball a time or two. So we're seeing Brandon Bolden, which kind of hurts Damien Harris's value. So not really sure you can play either of them. I guess Harris, if you're stuck for a running back because of Montgomery's injury or whatever. Looking at the receivers, Jacoby Myers is weirdly not bad. I mean, I know it's a weird way to put it, but pretty quiet the first couple weeks. I hear like a video or something.
Yeah, I hear it too. It's in the headphones. Must be on the computer.
Well, my volume's down.
I heard it too. Weird.
Anyway, so last couple of weeks, Myers has had 13 and 13 points, 13.9 and 12.8 and half point PPR. That's bordering on flex numbers. But the whole thing is, you got the rookie quarterback who could blow up one way or the other, and it's hard to trust that guy. Kendrick Bourne is in the same boat. Had 5 targets, caught them all for 58 yards. Another couple of guys I really want to. I played Jacoby Myers in a couple desperation spots. Didn't really like it, and he did just okay for me. But really, there's nobody on this team that I really feel as though I got to play. And it's weird because it's the Patriots, but I guess it's Harris? I don't know. It's even worse from the Houston side because it's basically Brandon Brooks and good night.
It sure is.
You going to play Mills? No. Ingram had a pretty good week 1, but no. Lindsey? No. I mean, there's literally nobody on here. There's not a tight end. Brooks. It's Brandon Brooks, and that's it.
And that's it.
That's easy.
Miami Dolphins taking on the Bucs, Kevin, and Jacoby Brissett's not somebody that anyone's going to play, but he's not playing
except
terrible.
Of course, for the Dolphins organization.
He's not playing terrible football. It's just average. Really can't start the running backs here. It's a hard pass. It's a 3-headed monster of not even mediocrity. Gaskin, Brown, and Ahmed are just
mediocre.
They're terrible. We expected a lot out of Jalen Waddle, and then he caught a touchdown week 1, and then week 3 against Vegas, he had 13 targets, caught 12 of them, and then last week it was 4 targets, 3 catches for 33 yards.
Yeah.
He's a hard pass. I got to be honest. I have to say it. Devontae Parker did catch a touchdown pass. Still hard pass there. Will Fuller came back. Everybody was happy.
He's got a finger.
Now he's on IR.
That's what he does, dude. He comes in. Usually, though, he comes in and he flashes, scores 3 touchdowns and then dips.
I know.
But
this was
yeah.
Gesicki caught a touchdown, and then the week before he caught 10 passes on 12 targets. They don't have anybody else. Maybe in a PPR. If you had Gronk and you pick Gesicki up or something, okay.
There's Gesicki and Knox are the 2 mediocre tight ends now that are actually producing.
Brady did not throw a touchdown pass last week.
Yeah, I don't know what the streak is that was broken there, but
I would imagine it's long. But I would still play him without question.
Dude, Brady's career is old enough to drink.
Yes, it is. It's wild. Fournette saw 20 carries last week. 20.
And a lot of targets.
Ronald Jones had 6. So Jones is droppable at this point.
Do you remember a couple weeks
ago? He did have a touchdown, though.
Do you remember a couple weeks ago where Arians announced that
yeah, Ronald Jones was over the fumble.
He was the starter.
Yeah.
That lasted like a series.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. he's sittable. Godwin hasn't scored since week 2, but week 3 he caught 6 passes on 7 targets for 21. Last week it was 5 targets for 3. Not great, but the entire team didn't have a great. I would still continue to play both him and obviously Mike Evans, who's seen double-digit targets 2 weeks in a row. He was over 100.
How about
3.
Brown?
He should have had touchdowns, 11 targets, 7 catches, 63 yards. I mean, in the games he plays in, he seems to be utilized a lot.
He is targeted quite a bit.
So I would continue to play him. Obviously, Gronk's hurt. If Gronk comes back, you play him. I would not play Brate. He caught 2 of 6 targets last week. It just wasn't the same, obviously. And they definitely missed that red zone presence from Gronkowski.
Brady tried to get it to him, Brate does not have Gronk's mitts.
He just doesn't. And Gronk just knows to turn around and then go get the ball and elbow everyone in the face. And,
Yeah.
Brate's like, pardon me, sir.
Pardon me.
Kind of doesn't work out.
Not so much. So you got the Packers traveling to Cincinnati to play a surprising Bengals team who is actually in first place in the AFC North.
You got to love the NFL.
Do you know why they're first place? There's everybody's 3-1 except for the Steelers or something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
but
they're in first place because Pittsburgh sucks now.
Yeah, because they actually have a division win. So Bengals leading the AFC North. Go figure that.
Gotta love it, man.
Anyway, so from the Green Bay side, you got Aaron Rodgers. Of course, you're going to play Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Jones falls into that same category. A.J. Dillon gets a decent number of carries for a second-string guy. Last week he had 15 and 81. He caught a pass. I mean, so he was up near 100 total yards. So A.J. Dillon, I have him on a couple of my teams, and he's sitting on the bench. I'm probably not going to play him, but if he continues to get those kind of carries, I'm going to consider him for a flex, absolutely. Devontae Adams is an absolute, regardless of what's happening with anything else. We saw Randall Cobb last week catch 69 yards worth of passes for a couple touchdowns. Consider him to be in the conversation for your flex, depending on who else you have. Tanyan, who, I was a little wary of him early in the season, in the offseason and early this season, because he's just so touchdown dependent. And what made him good last year was the fact that he caught like a touchdown in, 6 or 7 straight games and would catch 4 or 5 passes here and there. He's only caught 1 touchdown on the year. He's only been targeted, he was targeted 7 times, caught 2 of them against Pittsburgh for 8 yards. So he had 1 good game where he caught the touchdown and had 52 yards. So at this point, Tanyan's just a guy that you can stream your tight ends.
Maybe.
Yeah, so Joe Burrow, while he's really good at football, I don't know that you can actually pop him into your fantasy your
not
redraft
yet.
squad.
I think there will be a day, but that day is not today.
He finally got into the 20s this last week, 24.3 against Jacksonville, but that's against Jacksonville, right? So keep an eye on him. If you're in the Dynasty League, grab him, stash him. Joe Mixon is questionable with an ankle. Green Bay's mediocre against the run, so if he's in, you got to play him.
I like Mixon.
I do. I think he's, except for the injuries, which is constant.
I would call him adequate.
I think if he's healthy, he's more than adequate.
He is, but he's not.
But injured.
Ever healthy, so
right.
I'll call him adequate.
So Jamar Chase has become somebody you have to play. Tyler Boyd in a PPR is somebody you have to play as well. T. Higgins, love that dude, but he kind of seems to be almost getting lost in the shuffle. But wait, no. First game he played, you'd think that. Second game he played, he had 10 targets, 6 catches, 80 yards, 60 yards, and a touchdown. When he comes back, I would definitely find room for him on my starting lineup. And, dude, we talk about tight ends and...
Hard pass.
Yeah, dude, C.J. Uzomah, 6 targets, 5 catches, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns last week against Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. It's not that he's going to do that every week. It's just that he's capable of doing that. And that's enough. If you're searching for a tight end and you're trying to think, okay, do I play Will Dissly or do I play C.J.? They look for him in certain situations. You got to play C.J. Mm-hmm. Not saying I recommend him, but you might have to.
Right.
Sorry.
Broncos, Steelers, Roosevelt's in the concussion protocol here, Kevin.
Have you heard anything about whether or not he'll be back for this week,
He is
Lyle?
progressing and feeling better, quote unquote, Whatever the hell that means.
It means he's not trying to throw up anymore because his head feels like it's spinning off his shoulders.
They took an L last week against Baltimore. He took an L. You weren't going to play him anyway. Melly Mel's got a hammy. This might mean big things for Javonte Williams if Melvin Gordon can't go. But Melvin Gordon's been getting more touches consistently and doing better with them than the rookie. So if Melvin Gordon plays, I would play him. If he's out and you happen to have Javonte Williams, I might look for a spot on my bench for him. Now, listen, not a great matchup against Pittsburgh. They're not great against quarterbacks and through the air, but they are very good against run D.
Against run D or with run D?
Or with run D. All these receivers depend on, is it going to be the Drew Lock show again? What's happening? Cortland Sutton, 8 targets, 3 catches. Timmy Patrick, who we like, and you lost money on.
Cortland Sutton caught one pass. Well, I'm sure he caught more than one, but one right at the end, garbage time, to lose me a game.
Wow. Well, now I'm a fan. I'm a lifelong fan.
Yeah.
Timmy Patrick, again, he had 2 good weeks at the beginning of the year, but listen, they played the Giants and the Jags. Now, week 3, they played the powerhouse New York Jets, and he caught 5 passes for 98 yards. We're like, okay, he's a solid play.
He's a baller.
Now they're playing Baltimore, and it was terrible. Yeah, everybody does well against the Giants, the Jags, and the Jets. So I don't know what to think about this guy. Noah
Not
Fant,
playing when they're playing good defense.
Absolutely have to play Noah Fant. He's one of the best tight ends in the league. He got 10 targets last week, caught 6 of them for 46 and a touchdown. Those, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, are very good tight end numbers. From the other side of the football, Big Ben has thrown exactly 1 touchdown in every single game. He's also got 4 picks over his last 3. Hard pass.
Not going to do it.
Honestly, there are only 2 people on this team you can play. Najee Harris is one of them. And they just use him everywhere. Week 3 against Cincy, he had 19 targets, caught 14 of them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they lost that game, by the way.
Yeah, if you're in a PPR with that guy, he won you that game.
You absolutely have to play him. They just give him the football all the time. I mean, he had 21 touches last week. The numbers weren't outstanding, but he did get into the end zone. He had almost 100 yards. And Deontay Johnson is kind of the same way. When he's on the field, you have to play him. He has not played in a game this year that he didn't have less than 10 targets. But Juju, I know he will score occasionally, sure. James Washington, sure. Chase Claypool.
It all comes down to lousy quarterback play, dude.
It does. I think Claypool, if he's healthy, has a good shot of getting in the end zone because he's kind of a red zone target. He's 6'4", he's fast, he runs good routes, got a big body.
He can high point it.
But other than that, dude, honestly, it's Najee Harris and Deontay Johnson and a hard pass on everyone else.
Yeah, I got you. I am with you. So you got the Eagles going to the Panthers. This ought to be good. This ought to be good.
Hard pass on this game.
Yeah. How many times can you say hard pass?
Hard pass.
All right, so a lot of people are saying that, is Jalen Hurts the quarterback of the future because the Eagles have not won a game in 3 weeks, and Jalen Hurts. Let me tell you something. Jalen Hurts is literally one of the best things about this team. Doesn't matter. His worst game, he got 21.8 points.
Fantasy-wise, he's fantastic.
Fantasy-wise, he is fantastic. And really, that's all we're talking about here.
Yep.
Now, does he make great decisions all the time? No, but no quarterback does. So I'm saying if you're not playing Jalen Hurts, who are you playing? If you got Kyler Murray or Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen, yeah, I get it. Aaron Rodgers, I understand. Justin Herbert, sure. But if you're trotting Matty Ice out there and you could be playing Jalen Hurts, you're missing the boat. Just saying. That being said, I can't play Miles Sanders anymore because he had 3 carries 2 weeks ago. He had 9 carries last week. That was supposed to be I've learned my lesson.
Yeah, how many Kenny Gainwell have?
Yeah, Kenny Gainwell is actually the running back to play here. He had 3 carries for 31 yards and a touchdown against KC. He had 8 targets with 6 catches and 58 yards through the air. So in a PPR, Kenny Gainwell's your play.
Crazy.
Sanders is not.
Sanders is so good.
He is.
He's one of the best running backs in the league when he touches the football.
his per carry average is crazy. I mean, and
all right, we're talking about Eagles. Go.
Well, the Eagles are a football team in the NFL.
Yeah,
so
but everybody's like, oh, they're talking about the Eagles.
Yeah, screw them. 4.6 per carry, dude. So Miles Sanders, if he actually starts getting the rock, is a playable running back. He is not now. Devonta Smith actually had a great game this last week. He had 7 catches for $122. Hasn't gotten into the end zone since week 1.
Oh, he got in the end zone. He just stepped out of bounds before he did it.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns called back. Anyway,
well, I mean that's a
Quez Watkins has a knee, so really there's none of these receivers you can play. You can play Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, I like him.
You can play him. I mean, Zach Ertz is clearly the number 2 tight end there, and not getting as nearly the looks he got previously. But Dallas Goedert, I would play. Jalen Hurts, I would play. Kenny Gainwell in a flex. Otherwise, we're going to look at the Panthers now. Sammy Darnold leading the league in rushing touchdowns. That's right. I said it.
That happened.
His worst game was 21 points in week 1 against the Jets. Last week against Dallas.
Who would have bet money that Darnold would have more rushing touchdowns than Christian McCaffrey?
I don't know.
At this point in the season.
Dude, Sam Darnold had 33.54 points last week.
Yes, he did. And he balled out, dude.
You know, I saw things like, should Sam Darnold sue the New York Jets?
Yes,
I don't know.
Maybe.
Philadelphia's awful against the run, so if McCaffrey's back with his hammy, if he's back, obviously you're going to play him regardless of what what the defense is. But it's worth a Chuba Hubbard start. He didn't do so great last week, against Philly's awful run D, why not? Philly's better against fantasy wide receivers. So I'm still going to play DJ Moore, absolutely.
For sure.
Robbie Anderson. Like I said, he'll have a couple good games. Yeah. Maybe you're lucky enough to figure it out and put him in. Terrace Marshall, not ready to go yet. I love the name Tommy Tremble. It almost sounds like a punk rock name, but not a really good tight end name, so I'm going to go and take a pass on him.
Oh, I feel you. The Titans are taking on the Jaguars, which means the Jaguars are going 0-5. Mm-hmm. Tannehill has been average. Man.
Wait, though, didn't the Jets beat the Titans?
Yeah.
Maybe the Jaguars get off the schneid this week when the Titans come to town.
Maybe. Probably not. Urban Meyer's not getting off any schneid.
Dude, there's going to be stuff in the stands like, lean back here, Urban.
Yeah, right. Yeah, back that ass up. Anyway, Tannehill. We've been trying to stick with him. It's past time. I know it's Jags, and you might be like, "Oh, this is a good matchup," and you're right. It's 4 games, guys, and we're not seeing it yet. He doesn't have any wide receivers. It's a hard pass. Obviously, you're going to play Henry. He had 157 yards on the ground last week in a losing effort.
He's pretty good at football.
Yeah, we're going to play him. Let's talk about A.J. Brown and Julio Jones.
Are they up?
Limited. A.J. Brown was limited. Julio did not practice. So if Brown's in, maybe it's not Nick Westbrook. Kine.
What?
I don't know his name.
I
don't know how to say it. Kine.
I'm not going to help.
He had 8 targets. He caught 3 passes. It's not him. It's not Chester Rogers.
No.
Although Rogers had a decent game.
Not Chet.
No. Good God. Fersker was back. He caught 3 passes.
Ferkser.
Fersker.
Ferkser.
First, that's what I said.
No, you said
I've heard it both ways. From the Jag side, you're not going to play Trevor Lawrence. I guess James Robinson, he's got 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games. You have to play him, but
he's going to go ahead and be from Psych.
Yeah,
James Rodang.
Yeah.
Dooley Hill.
Marvin Jones, PPR, first 2 weeks he was good. Week 3 he was okay. Week 4 he was terrible. If you're desperate for
you're not.
A flex, fine.
You're not.
We did talk about Chenault last week and talk about how he was a drop. And then he drops 7 targets, 6 catches for 99. PPR, those are decent numbers.
He's a good receiver. It's just he's playing with a rookie quarterback and yada, yada, yada.
Here's the thing. If you're going to avoid it and his name's not Derrick Henry, probably don't play anyone in this game.
Yeah.
If A.J. Brown plays fine.
Tannehill, sure. But
no, I wouldn't play Tannehill either. He's just not.
If Brown is in,
4 weeks in a row. I mean, week 3 he was okay, but still, it's kind of disappointing. Maybe Tannehill, sure, but how long do we stick with the guy?
I don't know. A little longer. Depends on what else you got to play. You're going to play Tannehill, you're going to play Heineke.
I don't know, bro.
I don't know. Heineke looks pretty good. We'll get to him in a minute.
Me.
So you got the Browns going to San Diego. No, they're going to L.A. to play the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles in a dome stadium where they had a lightning delay.
Yeah. What the hell?
Well, apparently the sides are open and lightning can. Dude, the funniest thing I saw that night was, okay, you have a lightning delay at a Chargers game. It's like having a delay in Soldier Field because actual bears are running loose on the field.
Yes.
Thank you, Andrew Siciliano. I appreciated that. So Baker Mayfield, the team is doing really well. They're 3-1, but Baker's been stinking. His best game this year is a 17.5 outing. He had horrible accuracy issues this last week. And if Teddy Bridgewater doesn't come back from his concussion, I'm going to have to play him in the league on Sunday. Just saying. Nicky Chubb, auto start. Kareem Hunt, auto start. You got to play those guys. Kareem Hunt may not be your RB1, but he's at least your flex. You know this. Jarvis Landry's on IR, which kind of sucks. So we have Donovan Peoples-Jones. We have Odell Beckham, Rashard Higgins, those type of guys. So I don't know if I'd play any of them at this point. I mean, we haven't really seen enough out of any of them to go, yes, he's my guy. It could be Odell. It just hasn't been Odell yet. So I think hopefully you have better options somewhere on your roster to be able to play somebody other than these guys. From the Chargers side, a whole different ball game. Yeah, you're going to play Justin Herbert. Absolutely going to play Austin Eckler. Love that dude. He had a big game this last week. Did you see? You saw the Monday Nighter, right?
Of course.
Dude had a $117 and a touchdown on 15 carries, caught 3.
I was actually at the watch party. You weren't.
For 28. Yeah, I had somebody over. And a touchdown.
Who'd you have over?
Kid.
What kid?
My kid.
You guys can't watch football?
We can, but I'm not going to be talking on Discord while my kid's in the room. Yeah.
Wow.
Wait a minute. So I'm supposed to ignore the person in the room so I can talk on Discord. Is that what you're telling me?
No, you don't ignore them. You put the computer down, and when people are talking, he could be part of the action too.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
I know.
Anyway, so yeah, really like Austin Eckler. Do appreciate that, dude. Yeah, of course. Keenan Allen, yes. Mike Williams, yes. Jared Cook, yeah. We saw Donald Parham catch a touchdown. That was a little weird. Donald Parham Jr. Mm-hmm. But Jared Cook, the ageless wonder, caught a long touchdown. And again, it's not that he's going to do that all the time, so you got to play him. It's just that he can do that, so you have to play him. It's weird for tight ends. And the handoff.
Ah, cool. Yeah, dude, we got Chicago taking on the Raiders. And it's the Justin Fields show. You called it. He was better this week. Only 1 sack. He had an 82 rating.
He would have had to have been better, dude.
He had 200 yards and no touchdowns.
It would have been almost impossible to do worse.
Fair enough. The big news from this team, of course, well, it was 2, but Damian Williams came in and actually looked really good in relief of David Montgomery. A lot of people went after him on the wire.
Well, he was looking really good before he got hurt.
Who, Montgomery? Yeah.
Really 2 touchdowns. And
yeah, sure. He was
over
fantastic.
100.
But he got hurt, and, Damian Williams is now in, and, Montgomery's out for 4 to 5 weeks. So it's the Damian Williams show, and we saw what he could do in Kansas City.
Sure.
It wasn't terrible. Allen Robinson's is still unplayable. So hard pass there. Funny enough, though, Darnell Mooney, huge game.
Just in time for me to have dropped him mere days before.
I picked him up. Maybe it's a Fields-Mooney thing.
Maybe. But he's done nothing through 4 weeks, and I was like, I need room for this pickup. Obviously, I'll let Darnell go.
He had the 64-yarder that contributed heavily to his 125 yards, but he caught 4 other passes. I'll allow it.
Yeah.
Didn't get in the end zone, but decent numbers.
Bastard.
I'm not going to play Cole Kmet, so, from the Vegas side, they had a bad game. Right?
They just did not look comfortable from the opening kickoff.
Jacobs couldn't run. He couldn't catch the ball. Hopefully he's fully healthy now. He had 18 touches.
He didn't look healthy. He looked like he was
18
running
touches,
heavy.
But he only had 57 yards.
Yeah.
From this team, obviously, we have two players that we're excited about, and one player we're still not sure. Derek Carr, he's good enough. In the previous 3 weeks, he was fantastic. We still have to consider him, but we're not sold on him yet.
Unfortunately, he's going to have to do a lot to erase the several years of not being startable.
We know that you have to play Waller. That's fine. Mm-hmm. You have to play Hunter Renfrow in a PPR.
You almost have to.
You have to. But Josh Jacobs better do something quick.
He's on a lot of people's lineups,
dude. I got him in the league.
I do too.
Honestly, this is probably the most confusing team in football for me because I don't know if they're for real or not. They put up a lot of points, but their stars haven't. Waller's been okay, right?
The first week he got targeted 20 times or something, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're still 3-1. I wouldn't go throwing him out yet.
I don't care about their record. Right? Yes, he had 10 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown week 1. In week 5 against Miami, he had 5 for 54.
Yeah.
I need to see some progression out of these guys, and I want to see Josh Jacobs do something. I think you still have to play him. I think you have to play Renfrow in a PPR, and I think you have to play Darren Waller. Carr is subjective. Everybody else, I would wait and see. I'm not sold on this Raiders team yet. I don't know what to do with them.
I'm not sure they know what to do with them yet.
Fair enough.
So you got the you got the 49ers and the Cardinals. This ought to be a pretty good game. This is the Cardinals' second week in a row that they're in division. 49ers, we saw what they were able to do. Garoppolo's got a calf. He went out of the game, and we saw Trey Lance come in. Trey Lance actually looked pretty good. I don't think he's quite ready yet. I don't think he's a finished product yet. But, dude had a $157 and a couple TDs. I liked it. Ran the ball 7 times for 41 yards. So that seems to be the case with him. He's more of obviously Garoppolo can't run out of his own way. But he doesn't turn the ball over, et cetera. So, if it becomes Trey Lance's team, I think the whole scope of the team changes to more of a running situation than it has been. With Garoppolo in there, we've seen what the receivers were able to do. We saw Trey Sermon come in, start this last week's game, and he looked pretty good. Dude had 85 yards. Didn't get into the end zone, but he did the last week. So I would continue to play Trey if he's at least to me a flex, if not an RB2. I'm not going to play Garoppolo. I'm not going to play Lance at this point. But if it's going to be Lance going forward, I think, if you have him on the bench, continue to hang on to him because he might improve to be playable at some point. Debo is on automatic, yes. You got to play that dude. Of course, you have to play Kittle. I'd love to be able to say Brandon Ayuk is an every week starter, but dude only caught 1 pass this last week, and we need more than just that. We've seen Mohamed Sanu have some pretty good games. This last week, 4 out of 5 targets. He caught 35 yards. You probably have better options there. But there's plenty of good guys to play on this team. Samuel's one of the best receivers in the league at this point.
He is. Can't
just
argue
look
with
at
it.
the numbers.
Can't argue with it.
Kyler Murray, if not the best fantasy quarterback in the NFL, he's the second best fantasy quarterback in the NFL.
Who's
at this
number
point.
1?
I don't know. I think in our flea flicker league here, he's number 2. I didn't look to see he was number 1, but
probably Josh Allen.
Dude, 266 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran the ball 6 times for 39 yards, has 3 rushing touchdowns on the year. This last week against the Rams was the first week this year he didn't have a rushing touchdown.
Did he have a W?
He did have a dub.
Yes, he did.
37-20 over the previously top of the food chain Rams.
Those Arizona Cardinals are for real.
They are. They've got the defense. They've got the offense.
They are for real, man.
Now the thing is, I hate to say this, knock veneer, but if they're so dependent on quarterback play, as most teams are, but with their team, especially because of the way he runs and the way he can move to create down the field with passing, if he gets out for a couple weeks, that's not the same team.
It's not.
Right now, they're riding a wave of momentum. I wish Kyler Murray good health going forward. We'll see.
I mean, a lot of people can say that about their quarterback, though.
Well, sure.
Lose your quarterback, it's rough.
I mean, it's
not everybody can lose their quarterback, say, in week 13 and then go on to win the Super Bowl against the best team that's ever existed.
Only one team could do that. Chase Edmonds and James Conner, your running backs. So it looks to me like Connor's taking over the more traditional running back role here. Dude had 18 carries and a couple touchdowns last week, 50 yards only, but you get into the end zone twice. It doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can have
how
2
many
yards if
you
you
have.
get in the end zone twice. I'm psyched.
But to be honest with you, Chase Edmonds had a pretty damn good game,
He
too.
did.
Carried the ball 12 times for $120. I don't know if you can do the math in your head, but that's 10 yards per to you and me, Lyle. 4 catches on 5 targets and 19 yards. Again, didn't get into the end zone, but he got that yardage thing. So, they're going to continue that. And they're playing against San Francisco. Against fantasy running backs, Frisco's 25th. So, pretty good matchup for these fellas. DeAndre Hopkins, absolutely going to play him. Dude, A.J. Green.
For real.
I'm going to play this dude,
For
too.
real. People forgot.
They did. He catches a touchdown every other week, apparently. But he catches, like the last, he's been targeted 6 times, literally 6 times in every game. He's caught 2, 3,
It's
5,
like Arizona.
and 5.
It's like the Arizona Cardinals are mad at Bruce Arians, and they're like, you know what? We're coming after you.
Something.
You won that Super Bowl? Guess what?
Well,
We're coming after you.
yeah, I mean, Green had, he busted 100 yards last week against Jacksonville.
Uh-huh.
But, like I said, he's not getting great big yards. 67 last week against the Rams, 48,
They don't need
44 against Minnesota.
He's not a WR1.
Well, that's the thing. He's
drafted him
probably
as a possible flex.
But the thing is, you have DeAndre Hopkins, who's clearly the WR1, and
Clearly.
then you have 3 WR2s, and Kirk, Rondale Moore is probably a 3. But A.J. Green,
For sure.
I would play Green and absolutely Hopkins. Christian Kirk, he's wildly inconsistent, but when he does have a game, he does pretty good.
When bye weeks come up, the Christian Kirks of the world will become super relevant.
Sure. I mean, last week he had 1 catch for 5 yards. Before that, though, against Jacksonville, 7 for $104.
Right.
So he had 2 touchdowns in Tennessee week 1. So I'm not saying play him this week, but he's certainly flexible most weeks. Yep. Nobody on the tight ends here that you can even think about.
Of course not.
Max.
Big NFC least tilt, Kevin. The hapless but one victory having New York Giants are taking on the 3-1 Dallas Cowgirls, Angie. By the way, that cake was delicious.
Was it?
It was fantastic.
It had to get out of the house because if it was here, I'd have eaten it.
It was. You didn't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have ate all of it. It's
I
so
would've.
good. I had a tiny little piece. My kids ate it. I gave some to my grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Anyway.
Did you give him the part that said "suck it"?
No, he didn't even notice it. I mean, he's 85, dude. He can't
Cake?
make out
I'll
stuff.
take it.
Yeah, right. Anyway, Danny Dimes, listen, he had a bad game against Atlanta somehow,
Yeah.
right? But he has not had a rating under 90 all year. Okay? And he has also only had 1 game under 20 points fantasy-wise. Kind of sounds like he's a startable quarterback in the NFL to me. That's 4 games, Kevin.
That's a trend, Lyle. That's a trend plus
4
1.
games. 3 of them he was over 20. 2 of them he was in the high 20s. Oh, no. I think I'd give him a go. Saquon, limited in practice with his knee. He's going to be all year, but he had a fantastic game against New Orleans. 52 on the ground, 74 through the air, caught 2 touchdown passes, ran 1 in and caught 1. He had 2 touchdowns, caught 5 passes on 6 targets. That's what we expect out of Saquon.
That's what you need out of Saquon.
He looked like the guy. Who else looked like the guy? Kenny Golladay looked like the guy. 7 targets, 6 catches, $116.
When the guys you're paying a lot of money to actually perform like they should,
You win football games.
yeah.
They beat New Orleans, which, New Orleans isn't the same team they were, but I was surprised. Kadarius Toney actually had a decent game. I have to mention it. Unfortunately, Sterling Shepard is still not practicing with the hammy. We'll see what goes on with him. Evan Ingram, remember him? He caught 5 passes, but it was still for 27 yards. He's doing Evan Ingram-ish things.
As he does.
From the Cowboys side, obviously you're going to play Dak. He's having an MVP-type season. 7 touchdowns in his last 2 games. No arguments there. Zeke is proving that he's still one of the best running backs in the NFL. 4 touchdowns in the last 3. He cracked 100 for the first time last week. That was 143 yards. And in a PPR, outside of week 1, he hasn't scored under 17 points. And the last 2 weeks, he's been over 20. Pretty good numbers. Tony Pollard, not so much.
Yeah, that was a short-lived experiment for Pollard. I don't know if that's going to continue, but it's disappointing.
Surprisingly, though, the wide receivers have not been great. CeeDee Lamb has been disappointing. He got a touchdown week 1 and 100 yards. He had 9 targets and 8 catches for 81 week 2. Okay. But the last 2 weeks, they've been abysmal. He's only got 5 catches over those 2 games. Amari Cooper, kind of similar. He's got 9 catches over the past 3 and only 1 touchdown, which was last week. I'm going to see more out of these guys. I would still continue to play them because they're at least flex-worthy. This is a high-scoring offense, and their defense is not great. So they'll give up points, and they'll have to come back and throw. Last week, though, and the week before, it was Dalton Schultz. 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games, 80 and 58 yards, 12 catches in those.
Not just a guy all of a sudden.
All of a sudden. Apparently, he's more than a guy. I tell you what, if he scores against this week, he's unsittable. In this kind of offense, with that quarterback, if you catch touchdown passes as a tight end,
you're playable. Forget it.
For sure.
Nobody's going to forget about Josh, or they're not going to forget about Travis Kelce.
No, but I'm just saying.
But, yeah, I mean, if you're searching for a tight end you can play, no, obviously he's picked up already,
For sure.
But you do what you can. You can
certainly. I mean, it surprises me that Dalton Schultz is. But again, this trend could end right now. For the foreseeable future, nothing happens. I mean, that's the NFL.
That's the way it goes.
So you got fantasy football, baby.
You got the Bills against the Chiefs. Is this an AFC, championship round matchup preview?
Maybe.
Who knows? So Josh Allen, you're going to play him absolutely.
This is going to be a good game.
It is. It should be a good game. On paper it's good. So KC's 28th against fantasy running backs, which means they suck.
Yeah.
If you're playing that team, you should probably run the ball. Just saying. So between Devin Singletary and Zach Moss,
Eagles are like, aren't you proud of us? We ran the ball like 7 times.
Yeah. Miles got 9 carries. Anyway, so between Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, Bills have a pretty good running back. Individually, I'm talking about fantasy-wise.
Yeah, not so much.
Individually, not so much. So here's Zach Moss with 14 carries, 61 yards, and a touchdown.
I'll allow it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's certainly RB2 numbers. You can do that. But then you got Devin at 14 carries, 79 yards, no touchdown. So between the two of them, they're a playable running back. You can play Zach Moss. You can play Devin Singletary. It's just you have to really temper your expectations and know that they're not going to bust you out a 20-point game, more than likely. Speaking of not busting out a 20-point game, Steph Diggs is all of a sudden like the WR40 in fantasy.
Why?
He's just not getting it done, dude. He's
They're
getting
blanketing.
He got targeted 13 times in week 1, 8, 10, and 10 the weeks after, but the catches aren't there. Yeah. He had 114 yards against Houston last week. Yeah, I like that. Has only been in the end zone once this year. This is their star wide receiver. Now, obviously, he's getting more of the defense's attention than anybody else on the field, but still, the coaches have to work out a way to get him loose, put him in motion, that kind of thing. Anyway, I'm not saying you have to sit Steph Diggs. I'm just saying temper your expectations, and hopefully he breaks out of that. But until that, don't expect a lot out of him. You can expect some out of Manny Sanders, however. This guy caught a couple touchdown passes last week against the football team. He's basically 6 to 8 targets per game, 74 yards last week, 94 the week before that. Dude's flex-worthy. I don't care what you say. He's got a good quarterback. The team is winning games, and he is a guy who's actually involved in the offense. Cole Beasley, on the other hand, He's had a couple of decent games where he was targeted 13 times.
PPR-wise, he's compelling.
Well, last week he was targeted twice, caught 2 of them for 16 yards. That's a poach screw. You can't do that. But not his fault. Not his fart.
He who smelt it dealt it, and he who rhymed committed the crime.
It's like being back in middle school all over again. Anyway, against the football team, he was targeted 13 times, caught 11 of them for 98 yards. So he's hit or miss. I would rather play a guy like Renfro, but Beasley's there if you need him. Chances are he's on your waiver wire. Dawson Knox, on the other hand, if you were lucky enough to pick that dude up after he had his touchdown game against Miami, you're like, well, he caught a touchdown, I'll pick him up, like I did in a couple leagues. Dude has caught 3 touchdowns since then, has been targeted, pretty well for a tight end, and has caught 48 and 37 yards worth of passes and 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. Yes, please. Thank you, Mr. Knox. I will definitely do that. From the KC side, I don't know, dude. I mean,
I hear.
I guess you're gonna play
Tyreek Heel.
Anyway, yeah. He had 3 touchdowns, and one of them in garbage time. But you know what? They go onto the list as well.
Pretty damn good game.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes, yes.
Mahomes.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, all of a sudden.
2 weeks in a row.
All of a sudden.
It's not a trend, but it's trendish.
It's moving toward
I
the trend.
hope they really start getting him the football because he actually looked really good the last 2 weeks.
The thing is, week 1 he had 14 attempts. He only was averaging 3.1 per. Week 2,
Maybe
13 attempts, 3.5 per. He had 17 against the Chargers, and he actually had almost 6 yards per carry for his 100 yards there. Caught a touchdown pass in that game. Against the Eagles, he carried the ball 14 times, so he's getting about the same amount of touches.
Yeah.
He just had a 7.3 per average against Philadelphia.
Yes, he did.
Also caught a pass. So all of a sudden, CEH, okay.
Yeah.
Put him in there starting somewhere. Daryl Williams also got a little bit of action as well. Whenever I see him trot on the field, I'll be like, no, because I have CEH in a couple leagues.
I drafted Williams late in a couple leagues.
He was a great pickup. He had 10 carries, 43 yards, and a touchdown, caught a couple as well.
That's
so
against the Eagles.
Yeah, it is. But if you're desperate for a flex in a bye week or something like that, hang on to Daryl Williams if you have him. Rekill, yeah, of course. I mean, we don't have to tell you got to play that freaking guy every week. You can just plug him in now and forget about him. These other receivers, Mecole Hardman,
Byron Pringle.
Well, Pringle's a guy who barely gets any targets.
Still, the guy literally runs like a 4.38.
Right. Week 2, 63. He had targeted twice, 63 yards and a touchdown. But the thing is, anybody who's not, Reek Hill or Travis Kelce can't really trust. You can't trust Pringle or Hardman or Demarcus Robinson. Maybe you can trust Josh Gordon, who's now been promoted to the 53.
Flash.
That's Queen's song, Flash, from the Bad movie.
Oh, I love that movie when I was a little kid.
It was bad, though.
I mean, you probably thought it because you were a teenager
grown-ass
or an
man.
adult when you watched it.
Yeah, that came
I
out.
was a little kid.
Yeah, well, sure. It was meant for you.
I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
It's like this movie, and my parents were like, I'm
For
like,
the 100th time.
I'm like, yeah, we're watching Flash Gordon.
Yeah, so, I'm not going to start Josh Gordon. Will I pick him up? Yeah. I mean,
Everybody already picked him up.
Yeah, he's gone. I don't even think I got him in a league. And I'm okay
I don't
with
either.
that.
They announced it on a non-waiver, like after the waivers had processed, so everybody just picked him up.
Yeah, he's gone.
Bullshit.
The last pass in the NFL he caught was in 2019 when he was playing for Seattle.
Yeah.
So, of course you're going to play Kelce. And the Monday Nighter.
The Monday Nighter, Kevin, is our good friend Carson Wentz and the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Baltimore Ravens. I guess Wentz is...
Dude, I saw a thing. It's like if the draft was tomorrow, the Eagles would have 3 top 10 picks.
They would. They'll screw him up. They will. Wentz is unplayable in fantasy, so let's just say that. But
he's almost unplayable in real football.
They beat Miami. He had a 115 rating, didn't throw any picks, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, well, maybe if he gets healthy, he'll be better.
Jonathan Taylor had the game we've been waiting for. 16 carries, 103 yards. He's been over 6.4 per carry the last 2 weeks. And He scored a touchdown last week. He also caught 3 passes on 3 targets. I will allow those numbers. Nyheim Hines was horrible. Pittman, he's the one. He's like bye weeks. He might be a guy that you can stick in your flex in a PPR. But he has no touchdowns. But he does get targeted a lot. 12 in week 2, 12 in week 3, 8 last week. He caught 8, 6, and 6 respectively in those. He did have a 100-yard game. They're not huge numbers. Pascal scored 3 touchdowns in the first 2 games and didn't squat since. I think opposing defenses went,
I remember. Zach, is it?
Yeah, it's this guy we have to watch. So Carson Wentz threw both passes to Mo Alley-Cox in the end zone, who had exactly 3 catches coming into the game, and he caught 3 in this one, and 2 of them for touchdowns.
It's called finding the open man in the red zone.
Hard pass on the Colts, except for Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, okay.
Lamar Jackson has only 1 touchdown pass in each game. He runs for a lot of yards occasionally, but last week he only ran for 28. If you started him last week, you were upset. And by the way, they've won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
So they're not going to change things. This concerns me as a Lamar Jackson owner. I don't own him because he was drafted too high. But I want the guy who runs the ball 12, 14 times a game. If he's just throwing footballs.
Right. If he's not going to be actually throwing passes,
yeah,
he needs to be running for $120.
I'm not saying sit him, but would I start Danny Dimes over him at this point? I might.
Yeah.
I might. We'll talk about that on Saturday.
Saturday.
Latavius Murray has scored 3 touchdowns in 4 games, Kevin. Week 3, he did not score. I'm sorry. He had 18 carries last week. I'm sorry. He's a start.
Are you apologizing for playing a guy putting up numbers?
There was a Lev Bell sighting.
Yeah.
4 carries for 11 yards. Hollywood, obviously, is always a good play. 3 out of 4 games he scored. Again, caught one of the best passes of the year. Fantastic touchdown. Mm-hmm. It was only 1. Lamar Jackson has 4 TDs thrown on the year. 3 of them are to Hollywood.
Who's the 4th one to?
I'm guessing it was...
Andrews?
No, it wasn't Andrews.
Snead?
No, I don't know. I don't see it right now. I'm sure it was to someone.
Could have been a running back.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. I'm only bringing up relevant players right now. Sammy Watkins has been targeted a lot, but you can't play him. 8, 7, 7, and 7, Kevin. He's got 4 in every game. But, he had 49 yards last week, so hard pass there. Andrews has been disappointing. Week 3, he had a big game. But last week, 8 targets, 5 catches, 67. Okay, that's 11 in a PPR, I guess.
But the thing is, he was drafted too high to be that bad.
Too high. Hard pass.
So
you have to play him, I think. But
yeah, you do have to play him.
And those be your games, bitches.
That's right.
I love you. I mean it. Kevin likes you as a friend.
Maybe he's a friend with benefits.
That's getting a little risque.
Perhaps we'll have to issue a statement how you're going to have to... I'll have to work to get back your respect.
Yeah. Question, which side do you guys like better? Jonathan Taylor, Higgins, McKissick, or Najee and Waddle? What?
I don't like
Half
either
PPR.
side.
Which side do you like? Is that a trade? Which side do I like better?
I'm not sure who the best player in that trade is. It's probably Taylor.
Depends on a lot of factors. I mean, if it's a keeper league, it's clearly Najee Harris. So, yeah, I don't know that I can answer that. Interesting question, though.
And neither side is great. I'm not sure that you're getting
Taylor versus
value
Najee feels like it should be even, but the way they're using Najee Harris and how they have nothing else on that football team, well, Deontay Harris has played well, too.
Yeah.
Or Deontay Johnson, I mean.
Yeah. Deontay Harris on a completely different team.
He is. But he is an NFL football player. So.
You got me there.
I got that one.
All right, we are out. We'll be back Saturday morning.
Saturday.
No hard stops for me this week. If that damn thing goes
I have
until
a hard
3.
stop.
Yeah. What time?
11:15.
Lyle will be here for the opener.
11:20 on the outside.
All right. Check you then. Enjoy your Thursday night games, and we will see you. Love you, mean it? Nothing?
I already said it.
Okay.
I love you. I mean it. Kevin likes you as a friend. I already said it.
Yeah.